Hi everybody, I hope you're all well, happy and safe. Today is the last day of the year-end exams for us and I'm truly so grateful. I think I'm aging out of tutoring. After a 2-hour session, I just want to get into bed and sleep. I am, however, slowly teaching Dragon Man to study by himself. So hopefully sometime next year he will be able to study independently and I can say no to everyone and anyone else. Oh well, let's talk other stuff. I watched the arrival of William and Catherine at the Royal Variety performance. What a class act. Catherine looked stunning in that greenish velvet dress and obviously nicely matched with William and his velvet jacket. Content, happy to be there. What a presence! I do not know how Catherine does it. She has this air of calm, yet still as if she is in awe of everything, still enjoying every compliment, every performance. Well, I think most people after, 13 years would find it all a bit stale. I know that humans interact with other humans and we smile or laugh at a joke, but in Catherine one still experiences the magic and the wonder of it all. And respect for others earns you respect right back. And I think that is the basis of Catherine's personality. She respects other people and shows true gratitude. So that is what she gets in return. So let's just take a few seconds and finish watching the photographs which I put in a nice clip for us. Let's take a moment to just breathe. Okay, so what else happened yesterday? Harper's Bazaar released the article and photographs which were done and taken more or less during Harry and Meghan's last visit to New York City, although parts of it was done before. But I would guess that most of it was done in New York. In case you don't know, I'm talking about the visit during which they received that humanitarian award, months ago, more or less. Anyway, I'm going to run through the article. I'm not going to do a deep dive, just highlighting some of the bullshittery, if you don't mind. Okay, so the first look or part of the interview took place in Los Angeles at the Labrador Pits and Natural History Museum. Meghan was there to meet a group of girls, 11 to 12-year-olds. Meghan pulls up in a golf cart and someone announces her, the Duchess of Sussex. Okay, so jump to attention, folks. Okay, I did not even know that American children knew what a duchess is, but never mind. Of course, Meghan makes sure that the interviewer knows that the diamond earrings she is wearing are from Ukraine and that H got it for her during his last trip there. Meghan tells Caitlin Greenwich that this is where she rode on the back of her mother's bicycle. When, Meghan? Where from? Where to? Now just hang on a minute. I'll tell you in a while why I'm asking that. Okay, so everyone is taken inside, and there are boxes of dirt and bone specimens set out on the tables. And while the museum educator are explaining what they are looking at, Megan asks the one girl about her nails. So immediately you can see what is going on in Megan's head. If they think I'm going to scratch in the dirt with these nails, I am a duchess. Another girl tells Megan that her favourite subjects are languages, and of course Megan must make it all about herself and tells the girl that she's busy brushing up on her French via Duolingo. And then they stand together for a group photograph. Job done, bye. Caitlin Greenwich writes, when Meghan became engaged to Prince Harry in 2017, it triggered a tectonic shift in the culture. Tectonic? Does she mean like a movement in the Earth's crust when tectonic plates move? And what culture? Royal culture, British culture, American culture? Well, whatever it is, it's BS. Meghan has just embarrassed herself. She's embarrassed the British monarchy. She's embarrassed the entire United Kingdom and most sensible Americans, I would say. Then she writes, Meghan shot to global superstardom and became the subject of intense public fascination made up of parts adoration and parts vitriol. You don't say, Caitlin. Yeah, sure. Being voted the year's most hated celebrity twice. And being number one, to P. Diddy being number two, and her husband, old small H, being number three. Wow! I can do without that kind of stardom. I don't know about you. And then, above all, I'm sure she won with a majority vote. Good for her. Caitlin also interviews one Terry Wood, someone I know nothing about, but apparently he was the former vice president of Harper Productions, Oprah's production company. Now, Wood executive produced the Oprah interview with Meghan and Harry and worked with Meghan on archetypes. Wood becomes lyrical. Now, either he was coached or paid, or he is Meghan's secret twin, because their use of word salad, giving an answer without giving an answer, is so typical Meghan. Anyway, he says, Meghan understands her voice better than you, better than any producer can put it out there. So what is he really saying? He is saying, don't blame me for her Spotify downfall. She always wants her own way and to control everything, isn't he? Because the producer should have the last word, I think. Then Caitlin listed all Meghan's achievements since she left the royal family. They set up Archwell, their charity, at which they only work like 1 hour per week, which is in reality more like 1 hour per month. She signed deals with Spotify. Yes, they could not take it for too long and parted company with her as soon as they could. And the CEO went ahead and called Meghan and her husband effing grifters. What a success that was. And then they signed a deal with Netflix. The Meghan and Harry show did okay because we all suffer from a bit of voyeurism. But then came the Heart of Invictus, a flop. Polo, another flop. Pearl was dropped, and Love, Meghan, which dropped out of the top 10 shows faster than a rock can sink to the bottom of a lake. but not as fast as her Lemonada podcast. That dropped out of the top 100 podcasts faster than 3i Atlas moves per second. And that is effing fast, more than 60 kilometers per second. Oh, and don't forget, as never, with its wickless candles, runny jam, and nauseating marmalade. Okay, so, according to Caitlin, they went to the Polo Lounge of the Beverly Hills for lunch that day. So while they are there to continue the interview, Meghan keeps bobbing off. First to whisper and chat to the restaurateur, Michael Chow, whom she was sure to mention catered for H's birthday this year. She also pops off to go have a chat to someone Caitlin describes as a famous film titan. She blabbers on about her childhood, blah, 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 blah. Oh, and then she mentions that the girls at the tar pit was the same age as she was when she wrote that letter to Procter and Gamble. You know, the one which was a class project, the one her dad helped her with, and the one he may have even forgotten to mail. But of course, she doesn't tell Caitlin that. She also launches into the LA riots, the fire and the smoke, the broken windows, the looting, and the ash that fell from the sky like snow. Yeah, indeed, ash like snow, just like in the song Ash Like Snow by, I think the young lady singing it is called Terry Kershaw. But never mind, it is nice, and I think she wrote it with 911 in mind. Not sure. Anyway, why Meghan is still lying about this is actually very strange. By this time, we all know that she wasn't in Los Angeles during the riots. But now we all know that when rumor of the riot started, Thomas Markle took Meghan out of town. Meghan also talks about work ethic and how she shows up for potluck at her child's school, having a party for the friend who just had a baby. Well, I wonder why no one has ever spoken about meeting Meghan and Harry, or Meghan or Harry, at the school's potluck. And why no one has even ever said, oh, Archie, or oh, Lilibet was in their son or daughter's class. Anyone ever that you know of? Well, I don't. She compares her own mistakes to those her children make while they are still learning. Well, we all know that emotionally, Meghan is still about 12 or then 11. She calls herself a founder. Now tell me, what did she find? I can't work it out. She found herself a prince, but even that was a dud. Caitlin interviews Serena Williams about Meghan. Serena says of Meghan, we love a good mimosa. We could talk for 100 hours and it feels like 10 minutes go by. Yeah. Serena likely falls asleep while Meghan talks and talks and talks and talks, and Meghan likely does not even notice. Caitlin also spoke to Kelly Zafin, and all Kelly had to say was, she is funny. I think that it is surprising to people. Well, not to us, because we all think she's a clown. Okay, so in the article, Caitlin writes that she meets up with Meghan next in New York City. Yep, I mean, while they are there for the award. They meet at a grand brownstone on the Upper East Side, where the house manager announces Meghan as she walks in, and it sounds like he, announces her as the Duchess of Sussex. Now, I tried to go through this with a fine-tooth comb because previously Meghan mentioned to Caitlin that her home office is just off or near the kitchen. Anyway, Caitlin and Meghan talk about where they are going to continue their interview. It appears Caitlin suggests the kitchen, but Meghan shows her to a glass elevator, and off they go to the second floor. Meghan tells how she reached out to Pierpaolo Piccoli and offered to support him in Paris. She puts her hand on her heart, oh so dramatically, when she tells Caitlin how much H loves her. He loves me so boldly, fully. No one in the world loves me more than him. She talks about H's childlike wonder and playfulness. Yeah, I heard him laugh the other day. I'd rather not say what he sounded like. Anyway, yes, but I mean, because like her, he's also emotionally stunted and stuck at age 12. When she goes on and on and on about her mother, but admits that her parenting style is very different from her mother's, and I mean, that's one thing I would surely agree on. Doria Ragland disappeared from a child's life for nearly 10 years. Meghan, at least, only disappears for weeks on end. And of course, Doria did not have a nanny. She talks a little about the Los Angeles fires and going there and meeting up with World Central Kitchen, and how her and Harry volunteered. Yes, for all of 15 minutes. Anyway, then the interview sort of more or less ends. But anyway, when Caitlin goes, she says she looks back and she sees Meghan going into the kitchen. Okay, now two things in particular caught my attention. The one thing was that when Meghan talks about her childhood, she exclusively talks about her mother. Yet we all know, and she herself admitted to it, that she lived with her father primarily from the age of 9 to the age of 18. We saw photographs of him taking her fishing, horse riding, but she does not once mention her white family. Not one of them, not even the grandmother who she was supposedly close to. Then the brownstone in the Upper East Side supposedly belongs to a friend. Now I'm asking, which friend? I searched and searched, but there are too many celebrities, millionaires and billionaires who own homes in New York's Upper East End, and quite a few with brownstone condos or homes. But what I found strange is, I mean, they were staying in New York together because they went to this award. But where was Harry during this interview? And why does it sound like Meghan is so absolutely at home in this place? Why would, say, Joe or Jack's house manager announce her as the Duchess of Sussex? Well, I guess why not? But I really wonder who this place belongs to, because I heard another story which we will go into in the next video. Also, as this Caitlin left, Meghan mentioned to her that she was off to go and have lunch with Glow. Glow? Yeah, Gloria Steinem. So that gives us a better sort of timeline. But anyway, folks, until we meet again on the next one, please take good care and stay safe. And oh yes, we will talk about those awful photographs next time as well. Bye.